President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, sent a message to the workers of the Simón Bolívar hydroelectric power plant for rapid response after sabotage last Friday. The Liberty and Re Foundation party, known as Partido Libre, ratified its absolute support to President Xiomara Castro and rejected the interference of the United States. And in Israel, the main trade union center, Histadrut, has called for a general strike to demand an agreement for the release of the hostages and to protest against the government of Benjamin Netanyahu. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, sent a message to the workers of the Simón Bolívar hydroelectric power plant, who in less than 24 hours restored the electric service after the attack to the heart of the Guri system that left the country without electricity. The report with Madeleine Garcia.
The view does not reach the majesty of the Simón Bolívar hydroelectric power plant, considered the fourth largest in the world. This is where electricity is produced for the entire country. The road leads us to the heart of the Guri system that was attacked in the early hours of Friday, August 30, 2 days after the presidential elections that ratified Nicolás Maduro as president of Venezuela. Beneath these great walls are the turbines that generate the electricity produced by the Caroni River, which is dammed here in the state of Bolívar in the southeast of the country. This time, the aggression attempted to liquidate this dam, unlike in 2019, which was the first large-scale attack on the system.
Because it went directly to the Guri. It went directly to the main bus bar, and when we say main bus bar, it is the main source of generation of the country, and that immediately brings as a consequence a cascade effect in all of the rest of the country, and of course in all the national geography, because this is an interconnected system. The transmission line that comes from Guri to El Tigre were attacked, and that brought as a consequence an action of some equipment in which a destabilization of the frequency was produced.
Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez and the Minister of Electricity arrived here. They supervised that everything is going well in the different areas. This is the operations command room of the Guri distribution yard. From here, the energy generated in the powerhouse of the hydroelectric plant is controlled and distributed and transmitted to the center, east, and west of the country.
We must be alert to these perverse extremist plans.
The whole world on alert. The plans of the Venezuelan ultra-right wing and the threats do not cease. This is how they left a record of what the attacks was able to break in.
A political leadership that has the task of coordinating what is done inside and what is done outside, surrounding the hostage taker as it is done when you have a prolonged hostage situation, cutting off his water and electricity.
They are the operators of the United States in Venezuela who are facing an escalation of aggression and attempted coup d'etat that is still in full swing and is now being expressed in the electrical system.
No one is going to stop this country. What is coming are years of prosperity and well-being for us.
This is the Guri control room where everything is monitored. It is the brain. That day at dawn, the workers, technicians, and experts did not stop. Since a 19-year-old girl who is part of the team had never experienced a similar situation.
I was very nervous, but we tried as much as possible to solve and resolve the situation and to be there for our people.
I want to bring you a message of gratitude from the President, because the Corpo-elect workers have always been on the front line in defense of the Venezuelan people, and we know the tremendous effort they have given.
President Maduro sent a message to all his workers. Venezuela remains under siege.
With the determination of the ultra-right wing, extremism, and now fascism, and the gringos to attack in order to destroy the world heart that provides electricity to our country from Guyana. Maximum commitment to the homeland, maximum loyalty, maximum technical capacity, in record time, in a safe, stable, and very robust manner. The electric service was delivered to the people of Venezuela. My gratitude.
Investigations continue to find the perpetrators and masterminds of this new attack on the electrical system.
In Bolivia, forestry and land authorities confirmed that they will deliver in the next few days a regulation of Supreme Decree 5230, which strengthens the punishment against arsonists in the country. After a week of facing the forest fires, the Director of Legal Affairs of the National Protected Area Service, Ramiro Vidaurre, declared that the forestry and land authorities will working on the regulation of the Supreme Decree that will be formally delivered to the national government and the Ministry of Environment and Water. It's worth mentioning that to date, 274 administrative sanction processes are being followed for the fires in the country. And in Honduras, on Sunday night, the Liberty and Free Foundation party known as Partido Libre ratified absolute support to President Xiomara Castro and rejected the interference of the United States. After concluding an extraordinary session, the Partido Libre communicated the decision to repel external threats that may alter the realization of elections in 2025. In a statement read by Honduran Vice President of Foreign Affairs, Gerardo Torres, denounced the interfering declarations by the U.S. Ambassador Laura Dogu and retired military personnel, which, according to several sectors, point to a conspiracy for a new coup d'etat. In this context, the ruling party called for a large mobilization in the Honduran capital on September 15th in support of President Xiomara Castro, in addition to celebrate the appointment of Lixi Moncada as new defense minister.
To ratify the absolute and unwavering support to Comrade Xiomara Castro and to actively accompany her courageous and firm decisions to maintain peace and security and respect for the independence, sovereignty, and self-determination of our people. To repel external threats that threaten the realization of clean, free, democratic elections in the year 2025, and thus avoid a repetition of the tragic events of the coup d'etat of July 28, 2009. To condemn and reject the interference of the Embassy of the United States of America by attacking the Chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces and the former Minister of Defense in violation of international principles and conventions trying to provoke the destabilization of the armed forces.
Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In the United States, 10,000 hotel workers went on strike to demand higher wages and a return to pre-COVID-19 pandemic staffing levels. According to the union that called the strikes, the large chain hotels were affected by the abandonment of 5,000 workers in the Hawaiian capital, Honolulu, alone, which affected the service of more than 10,000 rooms. Also pointed out in a statement that many hotels took advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic to reduce staff, which caused workers to lose their jobs and income. In this sense, the strikers concentrated in several hotels in Boston and called a demonstration for Monday. In Libya, citizens celebrate the 55th anniversary of the Al-Fatah revolution that led to the overthrow of the monarchy and brought Muammar al-Gaddafi to power. According to local media, the people took to the streets of the country with slogans and waving the green flag used during Gaddafi's stay as a symbol of the heroic revolution. In this sense, the citizens expressed their conviction that Libya will be free again and the legacy of Muammar al-Gaddafi will prevail for years to come on the political level and social levels. It is important to note that the Al-Fatah revolution was a coup d'etat led by Muammar al-Gaddafi against King Idris I, motivated by public discontent over corruption, foreign influence, and the inefficiency of the monarchical government. The United Nations denounced that Israel has destroyed 70% of the schools in Gaza run by the Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East. This way, UN authorities confirmed that in the context of the Israeli onslaught, most of the schools have been repurposed to care for the thousands of Palestinian refugees displaced by the conflict. The UN added that more than 600,000 children are missing school due to the destruction caused by the bombings, as authorities warned that these actions fuel resentment and extremism in the region. In this context, the agency reiterated its call for a ceasefire to prevent minors from suffering abuse and exploitation, as well as to avoid their recruitment into armed groups. In the occupied West Bank, Israel's military operation in Jenin refugee camp have resulted in the death of at least 24 Palestinians in the past 5 days. The Israeli military has escalated its operations in Palestinian territories, particularly in Jenin, under the pretext of combating alleged terrorist threats. This escalation of violence resulted in severe humanitarian crisis that led to the displacement of numerous families. Residents are facing critical shortages of food and medicine, and many are too terrified to leave their homes. The ongoing violence reflects a broader pattern of operation against the Palestinian people, who have endured increasing casualties and displacement since the onset of the conflict in October 2023.
We live in terror and fear for the children, in addition to the fact that we have infants in the building who have no milk or diapers, no bread, no food for the rest of the residents. No one dares to go out because there is a sniper in the Rayyan building who shoots at anything he sees. I went out at a risk. I walked close to the wall so that the sniper would not see me in order to get here, in order to bring bread and water to drink.
In Israel, the main trade union center Istat called for a general strike to demand an agreement for the release of the hostages and to protest against the government of Benjamin Netanyahu. Although the duration of the strike has not been specified, one of the most significant measures is the cancellation of all flights at Ben Gurion International Airport. Furthermore, dozens of businesses and restaurants have decided to close their doors, in addition to universities, hospitals, banks, stores, and several public offices which are either paralyzed or working at minimum capacity. The action comes after the recent recovery of the 6 bodies of Israeli prisoners that has intensified criticism of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accused of obstructing negotiations with the Palestinian resistance, Hamas. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Russia, President Vladimir Putin said on Monday that Ukraine is a bargaining chip for Western geopolitical ambitions based on anti-Russian sentiment. The head of state asserted that the deliberate anti-Russian policy of the West, with the United States at the forefront, has led them to finance anti-Russian nationalist organizations and have systematically sown the belief that Russia is an alleged enemy of Ukraine and the main threat to its existence. President Putin also referred to the harassment of Russian correspondents and the repeated attacks on his country's athletes. The far-right Alternative for Germany party led the regional elections held in the state of Thuringia. Local media estimate that the advance of the party with openly xenophobic positions was related to the increase of anti-immigrant tendencies. Likewise, the victory of the extreme right is something unprecedented in the country since the post-war period, and it's unlikely that it would lead the region, since the other FAC formations reject any coalition with the party that based its discourse against immigration and military support to the Ukrainian regime. Regarding the results, the far-right formation obtained about 33.1% of the votes, ahead of the conservative of the Christian Democratic Union of Germany party with 24.3%, according to the first exit polls. On Monday, several African leaders have been arriving in China to attend from September 4th to the 6th the 2024 summit on the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The forum is made up of China, the African Union Commission of 53 African countries, all except Eswatini. The President of China, Xi Jinping, will open the event, with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will be attending as a special guest, together with other international organizations that will act as observers. African nations are actively working on their 2063 agenda, supported by a $167.8 billion bilateral trade force with China in the first half of 2024. For their part, Chinese officials' interests focus in strengthening the Belt and Road Initiative with African countries.
Over the past 11 years, Chinese enterprises have participated in the construction and renovation of more than 10,000 kilometers of railways, nearly 100,000 kilometers of highways, nearly 1,000 bridges, about 100 ports, 66,000 kilometers of power transmission and transformation lines, and 150,000 kilometers of backbone communication networks in various African countries. In terms of railways, projects such as the Kenya-Mombasa-Nairobi Railway, Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway, and Nigeria-Lagos-Ibadan Railway constructed by Chinese enterprises have effectively helped Africa form a railway backbone network. During the upcoming FOCAC Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit, China will also sign a number of new cooperation plans with some African countries to jointly build the Belt and Road.
And in Azerbaijan, the ruling party, headed by President Ilham Aliyev, won 68 seats out of the 125 in the country's unicameral parliament following the September 1st early elections. According to the Central Election Commission, the elections saw a 37.24% turnout. In this context, 10 opposition parties will receive a total of 11 seats, 3 more than in the previous parliament, with a further 46 seats being won by candidates who ran as independents. It is worth highlighting that the CEC statistics available at this point are preliminary, as the Commission is expected to present the final results within 20 days and then submit a report to the Constitutional Court for approval. On Monday, both spokespersons of the International Paralympic and Paris 2024 committees agreed on keeping the Iquitos Paralympic symbol in Paris for its values of courage, determination, inspiration, and equality. They also noted the acceptance of the Paralympics.
All our games, we always look to see where the Agitos can be in legacy mode. So we're working with Tokyo Metropolitan Government. We have many Agitos still left in the Japanese capital. Celebrating what were great games there, and I think it's fitting here that what I'm just trying to get to is there's lots of debate on where the rings should be, and we shouldn't forget about the Agitos. We shouldn't forget that the Olympics have also been here and are here.
The great news is that the ticket sales are continuing to fly. I can tell you that we have now reached the milestone of 2.3 million tickets sold for the Paralympic Games. So it's a clear success for all of us, and the French public is falling in love with those Paralympic Games. We're so happy with this success, and more to come.
And in France, during the ongoing Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, athletes from Latin America and the Caribbean have had outstanding performances, winning the region several medals. In this regard, Brazilian competitors have won in swimming, athletics, taekwondo, para-triathlon, shooting, and table tennis, reaching 9 gold, 6 silver, and 15 bronze medals, placing Brazil as the leading Latin American country on the 5th global position at the medal table so far. Meanwhile, Colombians have stood out in athletics and swimming, gaining 3 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze medals to reach the 2nd regional position. Mexican contenders have obtained a gold, 3 silver, and 5 bronze, getting the 3rd place in the region. Venezuela achieved the 4th regional spot with a gold and silver medals, followed by Argentina with 1 gold and 3 bronze, Peru with 1 gold, and Cuba with a silver one. We go now to Colombia to get to know the natural coffee landscape of this region. Let's see.
These productive landscapes are located in certain points of the Caldas, Quindío, Risaralda and northern Valle del Cauca, located in the center and the west of the Andes mountain range. In them are integrated 18 urban settlements, which maintain a harmony between the natural, economic and cultural, which are combined in a mountainous area with coffee plantations, cultivated in collaboration, some of them in clearings of
de selva alta.
The architecture that is found when visiting these spaces is a fusion between Spanish cultural patterns and the indigenous cultures of the region, which are adapted to the process involved in the cultivation of coffee. A clear example of this is the sliding roofs, with large walls that are built by a system that allows them to be more flexible and dynamic. Currently, more than 50% of the walls are built with this traditional method. The natural coffee landscapes are the result of a process of adaptation of the population of Antioquia in the middle of the 19th century, actions that have created a culture and economic that are rooted in the coffee tradition. The coffee producing farms in mountainous areas, the way of life of the coffee growers is different from what is now, because it is based on legacies that have been transmitted throughout time. In 2011, this landscape was inscribed on UNESCO World Heritage List, arguing that it is an exceptional example of a cultural, sustainable and productive landscape, which over time has adapted to the diverse geographical and climatological characteristics that occurs over the years.
With this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.